Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the EGL Open Series here, and we are so excited to finally get into split number 3. My name is Chris Dunn, and join myself this evening will be Toby Campbell. And you look Open Series, and you look at Gears 5, Toby. We're excited to get into it.
Absolutely. I've been scrimming the new modes even last night as late as 1 a.m., Chris, I'll have you know. And I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how these teams come together and adapt to the new environment that we have.
Yeah, there is a new environment. We'll talk about it very, very shortly, but let's go through the format of the Open Series and how things are going to break down this split. 8 weeks of tournaments this time instead of the 10, but that prize pool that we're losing from those 8 weeks is going into the finals. Nonetheless, there is still $500 up for grabs every single week alongside that coveted EGL RP. Get yourself up the table as quickly as you can for a better seeding in those finals, which will be coming July 3rd and 4th, $3,500 on the line there. But let's have a look at those new maps and modes that we have spoken about there, Toby. We've lost a couple of maps on Escalation as well, but coming in, we have Execution 2.0 and Control. Talk me through it, Toby. Talk me through it.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, we have the return of Execution, right? Of course, it's 2.0 now. That means within 2 minutes, that 2-minute round you see there on our screen, there is an overtime that comes up and the ring pops up, and whoever captures that ring then can also win the round if the enemy team hasn't been eliminated yet. As you can see, Canals, Checkout, Clock Tower, Gridlock, Tomb, 4 of those maps are former competitive maps from previous games, 3 of which from Gears 1, Checkout from Gears 3, and of course the brand new map in Tomb, which is a really exciting map actually. It was designed by Strangulate, former pro, of course, from the NA side. And I'm really excited to see how that one actually plays out in comp. Control, of course, District, the classic King of the Hill map. That's map number 1. Nexus, a frantic, a little bit smaller kind of map that. And then Regency, a much larger map where setups are crucial. Of course, that's first to 300 to win the match, but it's only 1 round. Unlike in matchmaking, that's why you have the 50 extra points on the rounds.
Yeah, there's a lot to take in, let's be honest. There is going to be a lot of changes, and just from an EGL perspective, we're very excited to bring these modes in. From a personal perspective, I would have loved to see new modes come in quite some time ago, but now, of course, these 2 modes alongside Escalation, it means teams have to be a little bit more diverse, don't they, Toby?
Absolutely, more to practice, right? And I think one of the biggest criticisms of this massive change that we had all of a sudden was how many maps there was, of course. So we had to bring the map pool down, didn't you guys? At EGL, bring it down to 3 maps for Control and 5 maps to Escalation. Of course, we've lost 2 maps there. Foundation and Exhibit, they are gone. But now it's still right. It's 13 maps you need to practice now in total. Lots to do, lots to really work on. And really, the question for this first week, Chris, is how much of these teams been practicing? It's going to show right in the results today.
Well, that's it. Look, a lot of these teams are going to have a really good opportunity throughout the weeks to get better and better as time does go on in these new modes. We'll discuss it more at length throughout the rest of the show. Let's have a look at the bracket as we are about to jump into the game very, very shortly. We're jumping in from the semi-finals this week just to basically see what's going to be going on deeper in the tournament. We're in the best out of 3s, of course. We're going to go Control, Execution, Escalation. Excited to see how these ones play out, of course, Toby. But having a look at these semi-finals, which one in particular is standing out for you in this one?
I mean, the semi-final that we'll be going into, EXES Esport versus Class 1A. I know Class 1A have been one of these teams that have been practicing loads on this new format, on the new modes and Control and Execution and the new map. So curious to see actually if they can really cause the upset now to the new roster of EXES. Of course, Class 1A were able to defeat Team Xenex, so they're clearly playing pretty well today.
Yeah, I think it's something to point out. Obviously, these new modes, and is it going to potentially bring out these, well, not new teams, because the gear scene, everyone's kind of been around forever, but is it going to bring in a different type of team that is maybe not somebody you would look at in Escalation and say that they can even remotely hang with some of these teams, but maybe these other modes coming into it are going to diversify our top teams potentially. There is a lot of different changes that have come on through, and I think from our standpoint, it's great to see that the community still back that. Obviously, we'd like to have more numbers, and as the time goes on, hopefully we pull some of you into these new modes especially. But another thing to mention as well for any viewers who are watching who do compete, we are still taking feedback. This is all very brand new for us as well. It's brand new for the community. As time goes on, you start seeing things you don't like, let us know. We're very much an open book when it does come to these new modes, the maps as well. we're very much here to sort of say, right, let's work on this together to make it the best version of Gears 5 possible. That's what we've always wanted to do. And that's what we're trying to do with these 2 new mods. So if there is teething problems, if there's maps in particular or settings in particular that you guys do not like, do not be afraid to reach out and let us know about it. Constructively, of course. Don't swear at me. All right, it's happened before, but just let us know. Let the EGL Twitter know. We keep an eye on it all the time, and we will adapt as time goes. And as Toby mentioned, we already changed things from the announcement. We changed it out on Friday. The maps came out, so we're very fluid and able to be doing that. We will make as best of the situation that we possibly can. But for me, Toby, I think I ever since new modes started coming in and started, the idea was flirted with to sort of play them in competitive. I've been a big advocate of bringing those in just to offer something different to the viewer. Escalation for me, I think it's a decent mode, but I feel as if time and time again, watching it again, and the next map, and the next map, and the next map, there needs to be something mixed up for it for me personally, and that's what's been brought in.
Yeah, exactly. I think, like you've said, right, what we've been alluding to is that I think a lot of players have wanted this for quite a long time, right? And back in Gears 3, even we had more than one mode, right? We had King of the Hill and Execution back then. So we know the potential of these of these different modes and having more than one mode in Esport. Of course, Execution was the Esport of Gears, right? All the way up until Gears 4, right? For most of the years that Gears has been out, that's been comp Gears. So I think we've kind of just been waiting for the mode to be perfected a little. Of course, we had Gridiron, wasn't really taken well. We had tournaments, of course, here on EGL for that. But now with Execution 2.0, I think that's been, it's resonated a lot more with players. And then Control is kind of like Cost 2.0, if you will. It's a bit more of an improvement on top of that. So it's kind of just pushing these just over the line now, where we really are interested in seeing what the potential is for more than one mode in Gears Esports.
Yeah, I think diversity within the game modes, it is nice to see, just to mix it up a little bit. I think this site of one game mode is better for simplicity. Yes, I think it is, but at the same time, I feel as if the Gears community is core at itself. There's not huge branches out coming into Gears. Let's keep the Gears fans happy, and mixing it up, hopefully that does so. We're going to be heading into Nexus. We will be heading into Control for the very first time, and as a Call of Duty man, I know this is kind of like Hardpoint in a certain sense, and you guys will learn to as we do go on. Thankfully, I have a Toby Campbell to ask any questions, so that's always good to see. But into it we go, and of course, Toby, just break down Control.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, first to one round in this mode. First to 300 score. When you enter the ring, you capture points, 1 second, 1 point a second. As you can see, it's building up now for the COG team. But you have to stay in the hill, unlike King of the Hill. You have to stay in order to take points. When it's contested, that score is paused. No one is capturing points until there is just one team standing in it. So that's a really important factor, right, to consider coming from King of the Hill and perhaps some other single ring objective modes, is you have to keep a player in that. So you have to stay close to the hill, set up around it, and defend as best you can while trying to control spawns and map control and power weapons.
It's kind of like, as we do delve into it, we've kind of got a good balance of modes now, because escalation, it can be fast, but it can slow down and have its lulls. Control looks mental, and then of course execution, it does have those fast moments, but it can very much be a slower game type, because mostly obviously it's the one life only. So it's nice to see the variation coming in, and not nice to see that from Bouncers. Welcome back to the open series for Crimsons, as Bouncers will find 2, not quite the one that he wanted, with Crimsons being the first and then finding another, but it is going to be a breakthrough for Class 1A. We get control of the point with only a few seconds remaining, and the rotations over towards the next hill are going to be very, very important, aren't they, Toby?
Yeah, the focus for this corner hill is to try and control the primary spawn right at the top of the staircase, just to the left of Jimmy B. That's kind of like map control, if you will. And you want to block that short spawn over by the hammerburst spawn in order for your team to not only spawn there, but to make sure your opponent doesn't spawn there either. So you can kind of control the map in that way. And it's not easy to lock down Nexus, but if you do get like a nice team wipe like this Team 1A side has now, you can have like a pretty good setup if you have players like Power positioned up top here.
I think it's as well something to contend with. Obviously, power weapons starting to come up, and see that it was actually EXES Esports had a couple of different things to help them on their way. One of them being the grenades, and another being the talk ball. But Bouncers has found 2 on the flank, and here comes the push now as Crimson's now delving inside. Defense going to come on through here, though. Class 1A have defended it well. Brazil will pick up the final couple of kills, and that's 34 seconds still to play with. Pains on his own momentarily. See the spawns out on the opposite side of the map, not too far away, though, as Pains does find one, just contests as best as he can. And it's a flurry of kills going to start coming on through here as well. Crimson's taking down Bounces is not ideal, as he then follows, and Brazil finds another. 9 eliminations to his name so far. It's a good start for Class 1A. They've got the lead.
Absolutely well played from 1A so far, and I think one of the quickest things you'll notice about this game mode is it's not only these rotations and the speed of the game, but also the amount of kills that are racked up. This is the game mode for kills in the whole of the game, and always has been. If you like eliminations, if you like getting as many kills as possible in a short time frame, this is the mode to play.
This gunfight's really important, and somebody who's always going to be favored to win his is Crimson's. He will fall down eventually, but they only made it hard for Class 1A. 75 points to them. It is indeed first to 300. No timer that will tick down automatically. It is literally the first team there. So it ain't over until the Fat Lady is indeed singing. EXES Esports, though, will break on through. They've got a couple of power weapons to play with as well. We can hear that talk firing itself up. President Cup will get the kills and start to spread out as well. We'll be starting to move over in a little wee while, but still 50 seconds left to go here.
The 1A guys, though, have done a great job of taking back the spawn, forcing EXES to try and tootle up on the hill. On the greatest of hills to certainly turtle up, but it's working out for them. Crimson's with a triple, frag grenade thrown right in front, taking out 2, and Pain's finding the last kill as well. A complete team wipe, lovely job from EXES now, and just about taking the score lead as well.
Yep, they have done. That's nice from Pains, and I do want to, and again, this is me coming from a Call of Duty background, sort of seeing how Hardpoint has played, whether we see the team start to do this, so they get a hold of the point. There's only a certain amount of time left. You start obviously thinking about those rotations, but when you get 4 down, it makes sense to kind of wipe out and spread out. They've even left the time there to a certain degree, about 10 seconds or so left on that particular hill. They make the move already for the rotation of it next. It's sort of kind of weighing things up. Which way do you want to go with it? Do you want to sacrifice that little bit of time to make it easier to break the next hill? And, well, it's worked out this time for EXES Esports. Back towards the middle next to the fountain, and they're going to start locking this one down. These Lancers looking accurate. Zenji dead, and the rest of the team often chasing. Crimsons will anchor down from behind, and this is nicely done. That's when they are going to find the kills, though, so all of a sudden Crimson's actually is all alone. Those frag grenades may just slow them down here, Toby, but that's all it's going to do.
Yeah, job for Crimson now is try and stay alive as long as he can. Unfortunately for him, he gets the down and not the chunk on Brazil. His teammate did pick up the torpedo, but Zenji was nearby to take out Pains. I wonder if he's got control of that weapon now. In fact, no, another player of EXES has rotated over there. Bounces try to go for it, but Zenji again picking up a kill. Well done from him, trying to defend that torpedo. This has been an excellent retake from 1A after EXES had a pretty good setup actually on the hill. An early rotation and a defense of both sides of this map. But here we go. Curry's picking up one with the Lancer. Crimson's pushing in with his teammates now. Jimmy trying to defend from the back. He gets 2. Lovely job. But Bounce is able to clean up. Zenji getting taken down as he rotates over to the hill. And as you said earlier, right, 15 seconds to go. At this point in time, it's all about rotations. The players will try and lock down the spawns and get map control ready for the next hills. Of course, in Control, just like in King of the Hill, the hill rotations are set, the order of things. So as teams practice, they should know exactly where the hills are going to go next.
Yep. Should get that one locked in pretty sharpish. Know which hills are easier to lock down, but it's a very much a parallel kind of map, isn't it? It's a mirrored one. There's Nexus. So not necessarily anything too complicated when it comes to these setups by the looks of things. You know, you just want to force the spawns in your favor. EXES Esports now, though, in control here. Starting to get a bit of a lead now. You see, every second you are in the hill, you gain yourself a point. But if the other team, like now, are inside the hill as well, you don't gain anything. And right now, the fight is just about going over towards Class 1A. But which way is it going to turn? It's going to be a final couple of kills going to come on through for Class 1A. Crazed with the roll, should be dead and is. 45 seconds to play with yet. And this will put Class 1A right back into it. You can see EXES Esport on the top right-hand side of your screen. Spawned quite far out. Now time for Class 1A to set up. Hammerburst at the ready as well, but Bounces, he's got that torque board, might help them break through.
Yeah, really good job from 1A. An awesome retake and a good setup so far, but Zenji's getting taken now away from the hill there, allowing EXES to flank around the side. Nice little pinch going on, actually. But no, Crimson's blows away Pains. 15 seconds to go, and you wonder, actually, is there any point of continuing this? Maybe a rotation? These things can be questioned. Crazy's going to hold on, and he will get taken down. Zenji spawning up close, getting the frags, and 1A in a pretty decent position, actually, to go towards next as a team here.
Yeah. Zenji's won the fight on the other side of things as well, which makes things just that little bit easier. You want to slay out if you're class 1A in the middle of the map now as best you can. Bounces is the one to answer back with a kill of his own, but those big rotational kills are going to come through. Who's the first one going to be there? Are they going to win the gunfight there? Is that going to affect spawns as obviously we move into the hill as well?
Yeah.
Bit of a mess right now, though. Both two teams were inside momentarily, but that is 3 dead. A Class 1A and EXES Esports can set up here. Only an 11-point lead, and we're past the halfway point. 300 is the target. Feels quite a lot to me, Toby. I don't know if I'm just...
Yeah, the standard is 250, and so it's just a 50-point increase, actually. I know the Americans were testing up 350, and that felt a little bit too long to them, but... you know, some people might ask, hey, why don't you just do it first to 500, right? Because it's 2 rounds of 250 standard match. But I think 300 is kind of that sweet spot where it really does make every ring crucial in terms of determining who's going to be the winner. But also, it's not too quick either.
I think that's just me, again, coming from Call of Duty, just being so used to 250 on our side of things. It's very, very similar. I mean, it's literally identical to a certain degree in terms of how the points are gained, etc. But nonetheless, it is still only 85 points away for EXES Esports. They get a lot of points on that previous hill. Moving over in just a second, and it's curious to see them just leave the point and completely let those points just tick down.
Yeah, and I think a good reason to do that as
like
well.
A 3v4, yeah.
If you know the enemy team is set up on next, if you just leave the hill, then it kind of delays the time until they actually are able to cap it, right? Because the hills are in transition, so you have time to break their setup on the next hill before it even pops up for them. So perhaps another reason as well to leave the points behind and start making plays elsewhere.
Every day's a lesson, mate. Thank you.
Anything for you, my friend.
Oh, cheers, mate. Thank you. Fru was playing this evening, though, wasn't he?
He was.
I don't know how long it lasted.
He, unfortunately, they had the awesome Class 1A roster in round number 1.
Not even a map, eh?
Oh. So, difficult times.
It never goes fantastic for you lot. I mean,
we're
not
unlucky,
going to do it too much.
We're just unlucky. That's all it is.
EXES Esports are starting to stretch their legs a little bit here. 250 to 155 now. Look this one in the middle point. And they've got a good look on where Class 1A are coming from. Zenji's the only one to answer back. Finds 2 kills himself. Pains, though. Good shot's going to come on through. Crimson's with the talk as well. Going to make things defending this a little bit easier. Starts to hit the shots under Brazil as well. And that time is ticking down as EXES Esports really starting to grab a hold of this game by the scruff of its neck. 25 away. Not long remaining on that previous hill, so we start moving over towards next. Only 23 points here, Toby, for EXES Esports to close this out.
Yeah, they've built up a huge score lead now in this latter third, if you will, of the round. After being very close, Crimson's being taken down, but EXES are picking up kills. Surprised that they didn't actually take their time a little bit with the talk bow, given this huge window that they have. But instead, it looks like EXES just want to try and be as aggressive as possible and challenge as soon as they possibly can. With 20 seconds to go now, we'll start hearing the klaxon, perhaps. I'm not sure if it actually comes up on Spectre. I know it's sounding for them, but it's very close. 10 seconds off for EXES to finish off. They're picking up the kills. 1A are forced to try and break and stand in the hill now. All that pressure is culminating now in the closing seconds. It looks like EXES will take the first map.
And there it goes. Team kills to cap it off, and that is going to be an EXES Esports win. And map number 1, 11 minutes and 36 seconds of our brand new mode here in the Open Series with Control. Nice to see it going very, very well for EXES Esports. Very well played to them. They will take a 1-0 lead in this best out of 3 series. 3 different modes this time around, though, and we're going into a new one next as well. Very, very nicely done from EXES Esports. Plenty of eliminations on the board. Slayed out there, really, Toby. Difficult for Class 1A to do a great deal.
Yeah, I think 1A's teamwork was actually pretty good there from what we saw, right? Their rotations were early, their setups were
Yeah.
really good. They stayed alive a lot of the time instead of giving lives away, right? But I think it was just kind of that slaying factor in the end, right? And you kind of needed a 300 score for EXES to really demonstrate that because, of course, it was kind of a bit back and forth towards the starting moments, right? When we got to the corner hills, though, it seemed like EXES were a bit better at being able to hold on to those hills. Bounces finishing with 41 limbs there and setting himself apart from the rest of the pack on his team and the opposition. And I think that is the story of Control oftentimes is both teams are going to be very good with their teamwork and whatnot, but oftentimes the Slayers can really make the difference out in those chaotic environments where it just comes down to raw skill and instinct.
It kind of like it rings bells in my head, I should say, for players like Pains, players like Dragons. Like these are the ones we're going to see excel. Those very
Yeah.
very fast players. That's what we're going to see on their side of things. But maybe in execution, it's going to suit. So maybe the more slower, more methodical teams to a certain degree. Of course, we have those first initials, which is very much the complete opposite of slow and methodical to a certain degree. But at the same time, if things do slow down in execution, we maybe see some teams force that slow down. But obviously, we've got the new added element of that overtime that comes in. It's going to be about capturing the ring at that point, and that's where things are going to be a little bit more interesting, of course. And it's trying to take away from that whole stalemate side of things that we did have with execution. It's just going to be interesting to see how things do play out. As mentioned at the beginning of the show, we are in the position to change things up if we need to. So if we see anything this week that we sort of say, oh, actually, maybe this didn't work too well, we can always change these things as we do move on. But I honestly, for a first viewer of Control and from my point of view, I actually thoroughly enjoyed that. I think it brings a different dynamic to things. It's not just about escalation, which is that static point that you got to hold. It's about moving around the map. It's about being fast. It's about these kills having to flow. It's about controlling spawns. It's a different kind of level to escalation. There's different things that you have to do well, and I personally liked what I saw from that one too.
Absolutely. I think it's a really cool contrast actually to escalation and even execution, right? I think a
Yeah.
lot about Control, like I said, I was speaking to like instinct and raw skill, right? I think a lot of the time Control can be quite scrappy. It is map dependent, I'll admit. Nexus and District are a bit more chaotic than say Regency, which is a bit more strict setups and teamwork and such. But you have Control, compare it to escalation, as you said. It's either strict initials, right, for a powerful weapon or a triple cap, or it can be a really big setup on just a single up top hill, like the E hill and Asylum, for example. But then you have, let's say, execution, right? It's a bit more like you can have like a strat book of different strats for each round. And if we try this 2 rounds in a row, we're going to try this. And a lot of the maps and the weapon placements on these maps allow for a lot more strategy and allow for that kind of like more chess kind of like gameplay where you just run it back and try just changing different variables until you get the desired result. And of course, execution, like you said, it is intense. It can be really scrappy and chaotic itself, but it's kind of just under that aggressive, ruthless layer that you see at first with all the shotgun battles going on. There is a lot of strategy to it, a lot of coordination and teamwork, where it is just making it work as soon as you get in there and being organized as possible.
Yeah, it's very very different. But I'm interested to see how it does develop. But with all these 3 game modes, of course, across the whole season or split, I should say, we've got 8 weeks of play as mentioned this time around. We felt as if 10 was maybe a little bit long. It was sort of getting towards the end. Nothing really could be changed when it was coming down to seedings, etc., etc. It was nice to have the weekly tournaments, and obviously it would be nice to have them longer. But it also came to the point of where it kind of just was. People kind of felt like they were going through the motions in a certain degree. So getting to the point now where each week is maybe a little bit more important when it comes to seeding, and then of course those finals becomes a little bit more desirable with the extra payout on the line, basically. So yeah, we're excited to see how things do pan out across the season. It's just nice to be spending my Sunday evening with Matt, of course, in the background, and Toby here alongside me until Fru comes along, and then I'll talk about how I prefer Fru. Then when he's not there, we'll talk bad about how he hasn't won a map yet in the Open Series. Elliot is past the point of I don't actually. How did Elliot do? Do we know?
I didn't see the scoreboard.
The exact same.
They're the
Of
same
course,
team, but like I don't know individually
yeah.
if how they performed.
They've been the same team this week.
Yeah.
Has that always been the case? Or have they just started changing it up now?
No, I mean, I think they've changed up over time. with different rosters and stuff. Yeah. But no, I think for the most part they have been really close teammates. Those two since way back when, right? Even back in UE.
Way back. Yeah, but I mean, they weren't doing it so much. It wasn't last season they were playing. Were they playing together last season?
Yeah, I believe so.
They might have done a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, as Matt mentioned, maybe desperate times call for desperate measures in that sense. But of course, moving on to this game specifically in the semi-finals, we're going to be moving to Execution on Checkout. Now, this one's been around for a while, hasn't it? Even I remember playing it way back when. So nice to see this one come back in. Execution on Checkout. Anything particular we're looking out for here, Top?
This is a tiny map. It's the classic Gears 3 map, right? Checkout. And it's best on single life. You know, a lot of players think it's a bit too small for a respawn. When you throw a single life factor in there, it really does come down to just throwing yourself in there into the meat grinder down on the checkout itself to the left of our screens there. And that 1v at nade just to the right. It comes down to that basic 3-1 oftentimes. But of course, the beauty of Execution is a lot of different open initials can go on. We might even see 4 nades at some point, Chris, to try and trap everyone on the enemy team on this side. And so, yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. Can't wait.
It's trying to get the shots on Jimmy B here, which is not ideal. He swung round, just uncontested, and all of a sudden 2 players, everyone's down, and that's the round. Oh my goodness me. Well, there you go.
And Execution is rapid. Rapid. And of all maps, this could be the quickest map in the 5-map Execution cycle because of how small it is. It is very small. It's very contained. There is no escaping oftentimes after this initial when you're against a really, really good team. Yeah, there's different strategies that you can play out, but oftentimes it does involve getting up close and personal with your opponent. For example, this nest battle, or platform, as many players call it. The question is, are you going to jump up and get the incense and try and get the advantage that way, like Jimmy B has tried, or are you just going to sit back and try and defend that? This time around, 4v1 again. Zenji's left to his 1v on his own. But very quickly, you can just stand up on that plat, cross out the player from down bottom, and end the round within 25 seconds.
Well, I mean, don't even take me out for dinner, and we're already nearly on to the next stage here, Toby. This is 2-0 at EXES Esports already. My goodness me.
This is where you learn how fast Execution is.
Well, of all maps, in my head, like I sort of was thinking to myself of the old Execution where things, you know, outside of the initials did slow down, but I mean, neither one of these teams are even given a chance to do anything at this point. It's just like, right, okay, you want to fight in the middle of the map? Yep, yeah, we do. Let's go. A team like EXES Esports is one that you would expect to excel at this sort of thing. Bounces come around from behind as well as things do get a little bit more interesting here. Now a 1v2. Are going to fall. Zenji surely going to get choked out, and yes, he does. That's the round. That's 3 in a row for EXES Esports.
Yeah, Bounce is winning his 1v very quickly there against. Well, actually, I'm not even sure. I don't think they even challenged it 1A. They might have done 4 to plat. I wasn't paying too much attention because Bounce has already picked up the frag grenades down bottom and then very quickly flanked. And it did bring Class 1A into a 2v1 on checkout, but perhaps they weren't quick enough there to account for Bounces coming round. It looks like they're trying it again, actually. Look at the top right. 4 players of the COG, i.e. Class 1A, trying to push up and use that numbers advantage to win over at plat. 4v4, frag grenades being thrown from nades as well. Incense were picked up, but they've not got the kills yet. EXES have done a fantastic job of just staying alive, waiting for Bounces to regroup with the frag grenades. But here comes Brazil and Jimmy B with the kills. 2v1, Crimson's left on his own over at checkout, and even then, the strat seems to have paid off because Brazil was able to pick up a long shot in the process.
Aim assist is gone, by the way. Keep an eye on the sniper shots coming through. Crimson's in a bad spot, but Brazil doesn't miss that one. 45 seconds. Yeah. That's what it took for Class 1A to get back into it.
You jinxed it, mate. As soon as you said, no aim assist, by the way, Brazil just like gets the shot while sliding. Crimson's lovely job. But this is it, right? This is where strats come into it. They lost 2 rounds on the trot, Class 1A, quite convincingly. So now they immediately change from the base strat to 4 over at checkout itself. And they're doing it again, right? Bounce is going to get the free pickup of frag grenades. He's going to try and throw it in and regroup as fast as he can. You can see Payne's rolling out. Crimson's and Cray standing right back, waiting for their teammates to regroup because they know they're at a numbers disadvantage.
Well, their team going down though momentarily, but has the revive come through? Yes, it has, but it is a 4v2 now. Jimmy B and Zenji. Now just Jimmy B in a world of hurt now. He's going to fall EXES Esports, 1 round away from that grand final. 4-1 now.
Yeah. Back to the numbers rule, right? When you're 4v3 and you know the enemy team has got frag grenades and they're literally trying to stay alive and stay as far back as possible, sometimes you just need to get in there, right? You have to get it down, you have to get a kill, you have to get the pinch. And if you don't in time, then it could cost you, right? You could get pinched very easily. Are they going to try it again? Yep, they are. Looks like they're going to try as fast as they can to kill these players who are standing right back. Jimmy B's not stood up for the incense just yet. They can see bounces flanking round. Jimmy B for red, immediately frag grenaded.
Oh, a well-placed grenade.
3v3 though. Zenji's been able to take out bounces. He's got the pinch on checkout as well. EXES are aware, so they're pushing forward, and they did down Brazil in the process and get the snipe. Zenji getting destroyed with a snipe though. And 1A are pretty much split up at this point. 1v2. The power to try and clutch up. Crimson's with the body check. And that will be it for the round and the match. 5-1 the final score. EXES Esport looking as dominant as ever.
Well, I don't feel like we're on checkout for very long, were we? I mean, we checked in and out immediately.
Yeah. That's why that's the name, bro. That's it's in the name, isn't it? It's just literally always been that rapid.
So. Oh my goodness. 5-1 for EXES Esports. That semi-final's over. There we go. My goodness me. We've rattled through that with the new game modes. I was thinking we'll get an extensive look. That was maybe just a snippet of what we're going to see on Champion. Although, as you've been saying, it's a very, very small map. It can come down to these gunfights straight off the rip. There's not really a lot of room to work with in terms of how we're going to work things in a different, slower way on execution in particular. But there you go. I mean, EXES Esports has to be said, looking very, very good in this new Gears 5 meta. Yeah, Toby.
For sure. I think Checkout is a fan favorite, actually, for a lot of the European teams. North Americans alike, actually. Speaking to Kenny and some of the players over there. It's just a classic Gears 3 comp map. And if you're an aggressive player, like a lot of the players are these days in Gears Esports, you just want to go and either have a strict 1v at nades and fly at each other, or do it the same side, but with 3v3 over at Checkout. And I think that's why, it's the favorite. You got the snipe as well. It's definitely not a high ban rate for anyone just yet. I expect to see Checkout quite frequently in execution for sure.
Yeah, seems that way. What was so we went under control. Obviously, that did last a bit longer just because it's up to 300 seconds. But EXES Esports in particular, you feel as if their team just lean well into these two modes, or are they just all around just complete beasts at this point? It has to be said.
I think you've got the new. We haven't mentioned that actually. We've got Crazed, right? The new pickup for EXES, star player pickup, right? He's with his old teammate Crimson's, of course. Those two players alone, right? They have so much experience on execution in particular, right? Crimson's played back in UE, and they're very, very experienced, right? And they've got some really good heads on their shoulders, very, very smart players, and I think they'll just adapt very quickly. You throw in pains and bounces for that slaying power, you've got a really, really good team there to really dominate on all three modes.
Lovely. Fantastic performance by EXES. They will advance on to the finals, and we have the next game coming up very, very shortly. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back here with the EGL Open Series just after this. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the EGL Open Series split number 3. Of course, we are into the grand finals. It's only we've been live for 45 minutes. Here we are. Of course, coming in with the new game modes, people are getting used to them. They're getting through them very, very quickly at this rate, though. But we have a very, very interesting grand final coming up, Toby. Of course, we've just seen EXES Esports go into there, but their competitors, the Spanish squad, are not the expected ones we thought that would be. Yeah.
No, Team Spanish, that's their name. They beat Phantom T in the semi-final. Says 2-0 on the website. My goodness me. The classic Spanish players have returned. Cougars, of course, is in that roster this week. And it's Legends, who we're, of course, very familiar with from back in Lucent and Gears 4. Breeks and Fortons, two classic players there at the end, used to execution, played plenty of times, of King of the Hill back in the day on Gears 3. Very good players. I am surprised they beat them. To be honest with you, because Phantom T had their full roster, right? Vision, Ricardo, Nesky, Death Dancer. For them to be losing, that's definitely a surprise, and really happy for the Spanish guys. They've been able to make the grand final today.
Speaking of surprises, Toby, obviously a lot of you would have seen throughout the broadcast that we have been on live.gearsofwar.com, and of course we tweeted out that we do have skins available as well. Well, this week, you actually, for the first week, thought we celebrate, and Styler is actually going to be the Lancer coming. Toby, I'm already in waiting here as well, but it's nice to have the input from the TC side of things. Of course, now if you are watching, you will have the quest available to get a hold of your brand new skin. Love to see it. There you go.
Who doesn't like skins?
New mode, skins. We got everything over here at the moment. It's nice to see, but there you go. Claim now via your quest, guys, to grab the new skin that you can see on your screen. Lovely stuff just before the grand finals, and we are loading in, I believe, as well. It's going to be District. The first time we're going to see this on Control specifically as well. We've got to be leaning EXES here, really, haven't we? Realistically, I mean, they would have been one of the favorites, if not the favorite, for the tournament. Before this, going into this grand final, you got to fancy them, surely.
Yeah, they were definitely the favorite coming into the tournament today. The awesome star pickup of Crazed. They're brand new, I guess, that 4-man roster because of that pickup. But Crazed is expected to slot in there very nicely, just like Crimson's did before. Highly rated, of course, not playing this week, so their closest competitor's not there. And Phantom T, third seed. They've lost to this team though, so I wonder if this Team Spanish can actually come out with a surprise like they did against Phantom T. If I was to bet money on it though, I just don't see it happening because EXES were just so formidable against 1A in that semi-final we just saw.
And here we go. Into map number 1 of the grand finals. There's going to be Control on District. Interested to see how this one plays out. Typically a little bit smaller than Nexus. In my head, anyway, at least.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more cover, generally speaking. It's a lot less open because of these large buildings in the way. In EXES, you can kind of get an angle from spawn oftentimes if you spawn on top of the staircase and whatnot. But it's very chaotic still. There's some really good hills to defend. The corner hills where the Talon pistols spawn in the corners. That's where the second half home hills are in escalation. But this hill, the starting hill in the center, very chaotic. It's often traded back and forth between teams in terms of control of that. But right now, EXES have got loads of points off it to start off, so they've really put themselves in a good position for the map.
Trying to get some sort of control on Spanish here. 23 points are rising for Esports. Of course, it is just a best out of 1 on the rounds side of things here, Toby. Say best out of 1. It's not really a round, is it? It's just you play first to 300, and that's that. But we're moving over towards this next hill. That's a nice transition from EXES, isn't it? Yeah. All the way through green. They look it down. They're looking to try and get towards the spawns at the back. And it's curious to see how manipulative teams can be with these spawns. Look how far they're extending out, so they know that that's the typical spawn point. That's why you see an EXES Esports now make this push up towards the cinema side of the map, forcing them away, and now that's going to be a push through middle. The Spanish, although they wrap all the way background, towards bandstand side. Cougars trying to line it up here. He'll do well to hit this shot over the cover. Just some damage for his teammate to make the push through. Legends, can he do anything? That's a big talk ball coming on through. Can he find the third? Not quite. As the pains do go down, the break comes through for the Spanish.
Yep, and 44 seconds to go as well, so they can actually set up and get a lot of points off these. And unfortunately, EXES have got the short spawn, the close one they've blocked out previously. Cougar's in a little bit of trouble on green, getting crossed out a little bit. I think his teammates are, though, to the right. Yep, just about getting there in time. Bounce is unable to take down Cougars there with a quick weapon swap as he went down. Meanwhile, Crimson's Craze trying to push on through, will be pinched. Crimson's taken down. The Spanish are very much in this game with 20 seconds to go. Very good start for them, but a really important rotation coming up, Chris. It's actually up to the top left corner of the map, complete opposite corner where the Talon pistols are. And it's a really big hill as you can defend it for quite a long time.
Just going to start coming on through. The Spanish can lock this one in. There's a good line of them across this side of the map, of course, but these shots going to be coming through here from Crazed. Going to force them away. Bounces is there to help out as well. There's 2 kills coming in for him.
Nice.
It's just going to be a little bit too easy for EXES Esports. They force their way through. They get a hold of the spawns. Beautifully played.
Yeah. Cougars and Crimsons both putting the Boltok pistols to work, getting headshots themselves. The new Torque bow is up already, of course. We currently have very short weapon respawn timers in Control and TDM and whatnot these days. And so, yeah, weapons are a big deal in this mode. Being able to control them while also manipulating the spawns and setting up is a big deal. And the goal is for this hill in particular, Chris, and what makes it easy to set up on and defend is you want to get right at the back of this traditional spawn, which is Crimson's trying to defend. Bounces was sitting right at the back, and that's why this team Spanish has tried to push out that before going to the hill. They race just for the kills. Unfortunately, it's a trading of downs, and Crimson's there to save the day. With only 20 seconds left to go, they'll be looking for the next hill, which is down at Bandstand.
Nearly halfway there if you're EXES Esports. Transition over towards Bandstand, coming in through, and then that's why you're seeing Bounces and himself up on this right-hand side. Oh, good shots coming through from him. Can he find any more? It's a good spread over the cover as well. Bounces looking to lock it all in on his own. That's going to come through, though, and he will be dealt with. So now Spanish trying to make this push around, but it's just the slaying power once again. Absolutely brutal for some of these teams trying to fight against a team like EXES Esports. Spanish were not the expected ones to be here, and well, EXES Esports have really put them to the sword right now. It's over a 100-point lead, so a good minute and 40 seconds of time in the hill for Spanish before they're even in touching distance.
Yeah, that's it, right? The EXES right now seem to have control not worked out to its full extent, right? I'm sure teams will get better over time, but they've definitely got a really good grasp on it already. You can see Bounces, of course, his overextension earlier, rotation for the new hills. They're winning the chaotic fights. They're really leveraging that shotgun ability they all have. And also they're getting constant power weapon control, right? Bounces now has the new Torque bow. And so it's making it really difficult for Spanish to break through.
It's another thing to think about, isn't it? It's not just rotations, it's not just spawns, it's not just points on the board. It's thinking about those little bits of utility that's going to help you out as well. But nicely done from Cougar. He finds 3 before going down, but Crimson comes through and finds 2 of his own. Fighting tooth and nail here, Spanish. Just can't find that flurry to lock in some good time, but going to be able to pick up the final 20 seconds there. I'd imagine they are going to leave it very shortly, but again, that's maybe a change of tactic from what we've seen the first time round that we've seen it. Of course, we've seen those final few seconds not being picked up at all by EXES Esports in their first series of the day. That time around, we see the Spanish squad, mainly probably because the fact that they're down to 100 points, having to pick up that scrap time. Cougars has done well to survive as long as he did there. Thursday's going to go down. Well played by Cougars.
It's amazing that he's still alive, honestly, Chris. He had a double frag grenade kill over at the cinema, then ran away from 2 of the best players in Europe, somehow staying alive. And thanks to him, honestly, they've been able to hold on to the cinema hill. I thought EXES had this in the bag. They rotated early. Everyone was snowballing with kills and the kill feed, but no, this man on our screen was saving the day, and now they're trying to hold on to the cinema.
Trying their best, and well, they're doing okay. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Bounces. Oh, Cougars needed to give that. Not gonna happen though. Bounces will deal with him. Here comes the transition through. 35 seconds to play with here. On Cinema, we can see they'll leave 1 player. Everybody else runs out. Gets in a position to do something. That would have been some shot from there on the Legends, but going to happen this time around, and now it's up to Spanish to try and formulate a way through, although they may have just given up the ghost. They want this rotation over towards this next hill, and they want the spawns for it.
Yeah, that hill is down just on their side now, and the Boltok just behind them. They're trying to control the spawns. You can see Craze trying to take control of Blue Room, or Info also as it's known. That's a really important point of the map, as we know from Escalation, right? But it's all about rotations these days in Control, and this is why they've all set up differently in the spawn. And this is the great thing about Control, right? You'd never see a setup like this in Escalation. Just trying to defend one side of the map, thanks, leveraging the spawn. It really gives a new kind of style to these maps, and it's really, really cool to see.
80-point difference at the moment for Spanish to try and come back from. Getting a good chunk of time here, though. 45 seconds to play with as well. So they get this on the board if they can hold completely. And they are very much within touch and distance, but keeping a hold of it is the issue.
Yeah, they've got the break on it now of EXES, so they aren't capping any points just yet. Crimson's perhaps with the opener on that Torquebow kill.
Oh.
There he comes around the flank. Bounces will fall elsewhere. And it looks like Spanish have just been able to hold on to the close spawn. Yeah, there's only 20 seconds left, but they might be able to just take this away from EXES now if they're able to push. Can Crimson's clutch up with his Torquebow, though? That's the question. Not going to stick there. Cougars applying the pressure with that Boltok. Crimson's had one of his own, as does Bounces. But the next hill is the important one for me, Chris. Again, we're back to that Talon hill. Opposite corner to this Boltok. I'm wondering if EXES have actually all set up there ready. You can see the Spanish now trying to catch up, but unfortunately they're a little bit too late on the rotation. They were too slow rotating from the previous hill. I think EXES are going to have a pretty good hill for them to defend now.
Looking good for them. 20 seconds is all they need. We can see Spanish have spawned out. Well, pretty much a non-here at this point. Let's point the trek over. And by the time they get there, it's only going to be a few seconds left for EXES Esports to lock in map number 1. It's looking like it is going to go their way. Spanish now need to make this push. They need to go through. They need to be flawless before they hit 250. Here I am in hardpoint mode, of course. Up to 300. My goodness me. Still 50 points to go. I can't believe it's even transitioning over that I think it's 250. My God. We're not actually playing hardpoint. It is controlled. Nonetheless, though, there's still 100 points in lead. Still, things are looking very, very good. Slap me on the wrist for that one.
I mean, it's 250 in matchmaking as well.
See, that's why I thought it was.
That's why, my friend. We've been playing too much ranked. Well, not ranked even. Quick play. Because it's not in ranked yet, but I do hope it comes into ranked. But yeah, I mean, this is it, right? 18 seconds ago. Cougars has the Torquebow. Unfortunately, EXES is starting to push out a little bit, right, and get those kills and keep the spawn staggered. It's not just purely setups that you can utilize to win. 5 seconds ago, Crimson's going off. Another double kill for him. 3 seconds. They cannot reach it in time. EXES will take map number 1.
10 minutes is all it took, relatively short, and it's not many points on the board at all for Spanish. And in this situation, EXES they extended themselves out so well, didn't they? Specifically on that last hill, you get control, you push them out, and just spawn them further and further away. Very, very well played by EXES. They will take that one. Plenty of eliminations on the board for them as well. Just the outslaying potential from this EXES Esports team is something to... It's going to be difficult to beat, isn't it? It's going to be very, very hard for them, for anybody to beat them in that respect. And heading over towards execution, things have got to be feeling really, really nice for the squad now. And any route back into this one, do you feel for Spanish? That was fairly one-sided.
I think this is the game mode to do it for the Spanish players because they're very experienced execution players. You know, all 4 of them, right? They go back all the way to Gears 3, I'm pretty sure, these guys, when they started coming up. And if they can just win the initials and be on point with their shotguns, which they were for the most part, right? They looked really good at times and were working well as a team. Maybe, just maybe, they can take it to them on checkout. But in the same vein, EXES have been really, really good on checkout as well, winning 6-1 against 1-8 earlier. It's going to be very difficult to beat them. It really, really is. But just thinking back to control on District, you saw right, smoke started coming out from different players, right? Cougar started to smoke out different windows. I think that's a really good thing to see on control, and something we'll see a lot more of is kind of the variability of utility. Some hills you might want to have more flashbangs because you just need to run through the front. Sometimes you need smokes and smoke walls. Of course, we've seen plenty of that in Koth SSG. It's not been in esports, but smokes were kind of like the play to make when defending hills oftentimes. Power weapons, you mentioned it, controlling the different weapons. There's a lot of things to really add to control and take away as necessary in order to separate yourselves from your opponents. There's so many variables to consider, despite all the chaotic action that we saw.
Yeah, it is chaotic, it is fast-paced, but as you mentioned, it's not just as simple as we move to hill, we score points. There's a lot more to it, isn't there? And for these teams, adaptation will come through within the next few weeks. We're excited to see the future of all these new game modes and which way it does take us. And so far, so good for me. Things are going by very, very quickly. And obviously, as mentioned, we will be reviewing things as time does go on. Maybe expect some changes by next week. So let's say we've been flying through. Yeah, I'm going to be getting wrong in my ear for even saying that. But at the same time, look, these went through very, very quickly. And we are very much open for listening to the community and which way the tournament's direction is going to go. And I've loved it so far. We're absolutely flying through the games. We're into the second map of the grand final. It's been fast-paced action all the way through. And sometimes I feel as if, and I was a big advocate of getting rid of Exhibit, by the way. Maps in particular, Exhibit on escalation, it can get a little bit stale at times. Control and execution so far has been far from that. We're going over towards checkout once again, and well, anything but stale was the maybe best description. It's the first time that we've seen this in the Open Series. We get our second time in the second series itself. Let's see if the Spanish can break this one back.
Base strats for both teams. 3-1 classic on checkout here. Both players standing up, battle through the smoke. Of course, they don't have X-ray vision like us. Craze will actually elect to back out. Breeks actually is going to get the first kill as well. 3v3, Incends in hand for Cougars, finding Craze, Incending the escape, and Fortons with a snipe pickup as well with bounces down. Okay, is he going to get picked from that Incend throw? No, he's not. The race now to the revive is on. Cougars will get the kill, backing away. He'll play way back now to make sure Crimson's doesn't have an opportunity to clutch.
This is a bit more like it when it comes to execution. That's a good grenade, though. Is he going to be able to get away from the shots of Cougars? The grenade out towards him as well isn't going to quite do enough damage. And Spanish have just spread themselves up very, very nicely, making things so difficult. Crimson's will fall, and Spanish will find the first round. And that was kind of a bit more what I expected from Execution when we were delving into 2.0 here. Not necessarily what we see and check out in the previous series. That was a bit more akin to what we're used to.
Yeah, very much so. Brilliant job there from the Spanish players. Breeks obviously owning the round there at the start from the get-go. Setting the pace, if you will, getting that kill instantly next to Nest. Question is, can they keep that up? Cougars this time, going straight into the middle lane to try and take down Craze. He will get the down, double down in fact, for both these teams. Payne's trying to hold on the right hand on Nest. And right now, you have the Spanish players just locked up in the middle lane. They have to choose where they're going to go. They do push out, finding Craze. 4v3, Lancers out. But it looks like 4v2, in fact, as Legends wins his 1v down at nades as well. Spanish looking very good here.
Yeah, it's looking good for them on execution so far. On the plan, well, that looks like a trade. It's a 3v1 technically, as Crimson's now going to fall as well. There you go. Breeks coming in with the final 2 kills, and this is a good start for Spanish here. In the execution, 1-0 down in the series, but we may well have a series on our hands here.
Yeah, like I said, right? Spanish, they have the pedigree in this mode. This is the mode for them to cause an upset against the Gears 5 veterans, if you will, in EXES. This team fight at the start, very technical. And there goes the flashes. Neither team committing just yet, or right away at least at Nest. Now Paynes is looking to be aggressive through the middle lane. Nice left hand. Cougars will get the down on Paynes. Crimson's trading out as well. 3v3. The battle continues over at the Nest. Trading kills back and forth. 1v3 and only Legends is left alive at nades and bounces. Excellent job from him, backing all the way back up towards his spawn, waiting for his teammates to cross from checkout.
There you go. Better from EXES Esports this time around. Clinical one at that, 2-1 now.
Question is, again, strats. I think both teams will probably elect to stick to 3-1. Yep, they will. As we go back and forth, and the 1B's down bottom. Also, this fight at Nest. Pains this time pushing right hand. The revive just about coming through. Cougars will get taken down. Pains with the double opening this lane up completely. The control is clear on the checkout side, and only Legends once more is left alive on nades. Bounces is choosing to sit back a bit further, it seems like, rely on his teammates to win over a checkout and make sure he stays alive, keeping his distance, making it as hard as possible for Legends to push him.
It's all these different tactics, though, isn't it? Maybe just restricting players to picking up those frags towards the center rather than committing to the fight for them and then definitely losing out. It's an interesting prospect, isn't it? And, you know, we were debating the round length to a certain extent in our chats throughout the week, Toby. Honestly, I don't think it really matters that much. It's a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Hey, we're usually here for about 45 seconds, so let's see which way this one's going to go. Those Pains is the first one to drop one down. Spanish now in a good spot because they've got Cougars on the snipe.
Ooh.
We can do with it as well. Crazy as well. Dead. 4v2. Oh my goodness, Cougars! It's a great shot on the Crimsons. He saves Fortins and, well, puts the round in the bag pretty much for Spanish. He'd quite like to seal it with another, but that is good shooting from Cougars, and that is a 3-2 lead for Spanish.
Sick headshot from Cougars there. Just about saving his teammate's life, maybe, as well, as Crimsons were just lurking around the corner, trying to get in that clutch push, if you will, and surprise the enemies who thought they were all good and fortified over at the checkout. We have a game on our hands, Chris. This is really building up quite nicely. The Spanish team are going back and forth with EXES here over at Nest and checkout. Both teams mixing up a little bit and how aggressive they are on the mid lane. Cougars look for it. Pains will bait it. Nice flash as well, and a smoke on the back checkout as well. Crimsons can't see a thing. The Cougars can just push on through, and the sniper's been picked up as well.
Nice. Definitely feels like Spanish are coming to execution a lot more prepared than they were maybe for the control, and there's the first kill going to go in their direction as well. Craze going to have to be back down here as well. They've got them between a rock and indeed a hard place. Crimsons will fall, Craze will fall, and that is another round over towards Spanish. 4-2 now. Here we go.
Well, that's what I mean. Legends winning the 1v as well, as he finally was able just about to get that kill there in the end. And that was the strat right for me with Spanish. Cougars, we followed his point of view throughout. He was aggressive in the middle lane, and once that smoke was thrown, Spanish, they just called, right? Hey, let's get the snipe. Just go wide. Give up the nest side of control in terms of the checkout control, and then push in after we've got that weapon. And they made it work perfectly for them now, one round away from taking it to a final map.
It's going to fall this time around, though. This is looking more like it from EXES Esports. Crimson's in the middle. He's done very, very well. Legends has got away, and he has found himself a kill, but still, 3 more players on EXES to deal with here. They've spotted him out as well. He is in a rough spot. They play this sensibly. They have to. Being 4-2 down, but that deficit is going to be reduced now to 4-3. Clean one from EXES as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Really, really good response from them, actually. Pains, again, is perhaps the best player, honestly, to have at Nest. Of all players in this game, Pains is probably, once he gets the hang of this area and you give him a little bit of practice, give him a little bit of scrim experience on checkout in Gears 5, he could be absolutely deadly as he learns this area, and definitely a player to look out for the remainder of this map. A little bit of a strat change, actually. Two to nades, actually, for the Spanish. This is going to be an easy kill on bounces. Question is, are the rest of the team staying alive at checkout? Fortins has been able to get out. Yes, they are. 4v3 now. And this is now, yeah, there's Craze. He's able to stop and lock down any bookcase strategy, if you will, and keep EXES trapped in the checkout area. EXES, their main job there was to try and hold on to one spawn so they can't be contained. Because they've done that successfully, the Spanish side are just locked in tech, in the electronics. This is the area down here. And eventually, they could be angled out if they're not careful with the leverage of the snipe. With this numbers advantage, with the frag grenades that they did swap hands over to Cougars, they do still have the advantage.
Are we going to see a ring spawn here? Any chance?
I think it's spawned in electronics, actually. So this might explain why they've backed off into tech so quickly. Oh, look at this for an angle.
Trying to find something.
I think you can see the head there.
Oh, just get it right. There you go, Crimson's. The eye of a needle. There's the second as well. One's just been hit from there. Let's just not move. And Crimson's will find the second. Oh, dearie me, this round has turned on its head ever so quickly. There you go, Crimsons. Make it 4-4. That was sublime.
Now that is experience for you folks and smarts. That was absolutely sublime. I cannot believe he's been able to find that angle and check out. And that's it for you, right? That's the disadvantage of trying to set up for the ring and play it slow. Crimsons can find the dirtiest angle like that and get 2 headshots. And I don't think the Spanish even knew where he was when they got the headshots, leading to the 2 kills. We're on to a round now between these 2 teams where it's just whoever wins this wins. Oh my goodness.
And all of Crimson's good work might have just been eviscerated completely. Oh, the shot from Phones has killed Cougars. What's going on? It's a 2v2. This is absolutely mental. Crazed in the middle now. How's the help from his teammate? Breaks is going to fall to Phones. Oh my god. It's an absolute collapse. I don't believe it.
Not like this. Not like that. You cannot be serious. What has just happened? He just sniped his teammate in the back, got flanked, and then suddenly they lose.
Team kill as well.
I think they were 4v2 at one point.
They were.
How does that happen?
I'm it back on the stream now. That's absolutely disastrous. And then Beaks is killed by Fortons. Oh my god.
We laugh because it was just so ridiculously fast and intense that we just thought, oh, the Spanish are going to win. And then suddenly it turns on its head. And you just can't help but laugh. My goodness me. That is nuts. That is such a sad tale for Spanish as well. They were doing so well. I thought it was guaranteed map 3, right?
They played it fantastic at the beginning. That was amazing. Then a sniper comes out, things start getting a bit exciting. Wallop, there's your teammate dead. and then they roll into each other's shotguns. Oh no!
He just zoomed at his teammate in the back. Like, oh my god.
Well,
so sad.
That's the end of week 1. There you go. We've absolutely flown through these games. Spanish have flown through their own teammates. That is quite the collapse from the Spanish squad. EXES win week number 1 of the EGL Open Series split number 3 with a victory over Spanish. Very, very well played in the first map, specifically to EXES Esports. The second map, yeah, okay, fair enough, they came back. But you have to say, the Spanish have lost that one rather than the EXES have won it. After a really, really good run from them to get to these grand finals. But, I mean, it sets us up for week number 2 with a lot of things to take away from that, I feel, Toby. A short broadcast nonetheless, but at the same time, let's talk about the modes. Let's talk about what we liked about them. Control, it's very much about that slaying ability. It's about the rotations really come down. Spawn knowledge is obviously paramount as well. The execution is just a laugh at this point. I mean, that was great fun, but nonetheless, still, it has those elements of what a lot of people fell in love with Gears Esports for. And bringing back execution for me was super important. I think, bringing that in here, it was a very, very good game. I know we had that dramatic moment at the end, and it is unfortunate for Spanish, but what a way to end at the same time. A 2-0 win for EXES, though, but happy with how things played out for the first week, Toby.
Absolutely. Control was awesome, both on District and Nexus. I thought it was really entertaining to watch. And you kind of saw the strategies evolving, right? I hope I did a somewhat okay job of trying to break it down for those new to competitive Control with the spawns and the map control and such and the utility. But then we had execution as well. It's clear that control is the most popular mode in the game. You can kind of see why. But then you throw back to execution, which we've not seen much of in recent times. It just goes to show, right, why that was the classic old school esport mode, right? It's just so entertaining. And it's very clear why Checkout is perhaps the most popular execution map at the moment. It's just got everything. You might just think it's just a brawl with shotguns involved, but of course, there's different strats involved. We saw the players mix it up on Checkout when they sometimes played for the incense and nest control and push through there, or they went for the kind of like the smoke strat. And you saw Spanish go for the snipe pickup and then regroup and make plays with that. Likewise, we saw two sent to frag grenades. Cougars, they got an excellent advantage there, didn't they? But eventually, it was Crimsons who had the winning laugh there with a headshot with a snipe on 2 when they were trapped in tech, setting up for the hill. It is so much to explore. Of course, we only even saw one map of execution today as well. So I'm really looking forward to next week. And we might see escalation as well, of course. They were just so rapid today, Control and XC, and the team and X is so dominant with their 2-0 wins. We didn't even get to see that today. So I really like this new variety, and I can't wait to see how everything evolves.
Variety is the spice of life, mate. There we go. What a fantastic way to kick things off between these two. And I think, when we transitioned over towards Checkmate the second time around, you definitely felt as if there was a bit more strategy coming out from both two teams than what we did see in the semi-final. I would say it was very much a butt heads this time around. It felt a bit more like we were slowing it down and people were thinking about a little bit more as the round went on. But nonetheless, an entertaining week, whether you're on the right side or the wrong side of that result. A phenomenal end for one of the teams and for everybody watching, at least anyway. But once again, thank you to all the teams that did sign up. We'll be coming back with another 7 weeks of play yet. And as mentioned, we'll start to refine the rules. We'll start to refine, how many best out of threes, etc., are going to be introduced, because I think we've definitely had learning lessons throughout this week. Things went super quick. I mean, the broadcast, we've been live for an hour and 15 minutes and we're done. So, I mean, that's something for us to take forward and adapt to. We absolutely will as well. But thank you to all the teams who did sign up. Hopefully we see some more of you within the next week or so. Do keep an eye on our socials. As mentioned, we may be changing things around. And if we do, you want to make sure you do know what's going on. And of course, skins will be coming every single week. So drop a follow on the channel and make sure you do come and hang out with us on your Sunday evening to pick up the free skins, for nothing less, at least anyway. And then you get to watch out and hang out and watch some fantastic Gears of War. Toby, once again, thank you very much for coming to join me this evening. I'm sure we'll see plenty of you more throughout the third split. But once again, thank you to everybody who did join us this evening. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. See you next week.